The kid. Guys, this is part one of a massive preview. Part two, of course, is going to be the Sunday buffet. So I thought before I give you that, this is just a build up to the buffet preview of the Titanic Chelsea Liverpool. So just as a nice little precursor, a little warm up, a little like starter. I thought I was going to just bring on a few of my friends here and amigos, hangout regulars, to give a bit of insights and back and forth on what is Liverpool Chelsea. So to set the scene before I introduce my guests. It's a game that both sides needed to win. Liverpool going for the title, Chelsea trying to secure top four. We all know what happened when Chelsea faced Liverpool earlier on in this season and in the League Cup. So this game, particularly at this time of the season, is a big one. This is both teams' probably toughest game. This is both the teams' toughest games of this season, because they will not have any game tougher this season pertaining to the Premier League. So Liverpool know that if they dispose of Chelsea, there will be no game as tough as this. If Chelsea dispose of Liverpool, there will be no game for them as tough as this. So to dissect this, tactically look at this, at the back and forth, I have your boy Forward.
Yo, what's good?
And I have your boy Dahir.
Yo, it's a pleasure to be here.
Okay. So look, man. Let's just start off first with this before we go into detail. Who would you now? Let me just set the scene. Let's say both teams have their strongest sides. So Liverpool, we know what their strongest side. I'm sure that here you have the strongest side, and Chelsea pretty much play their lineup that they played against West Ham, which is of course is their strongest side. Who would you say would be favorites in the game?
I'm gonna go first, and the clear answer to this is Liverpool. 100%. To elaborate on that a little bit, again, they've got the second longest unbeaten run in Premier League history behind obviously Chelsea, a Chelsea team between 2005, 2009. And we've all watched football. We've all seen their form at home this season. They've put away a lot of the top sides at home. Obviously, they drew against Man City, but they destroyed Man United. They destroyed Arsenal, and obviously they beat Tottenham with a late goal. So, again, even though Chelsea are on decent form with this new 11, you have to consider Liverpool the favourites.
Here, do you?
Yeah, I mean, I would have to agree with that. I think obviously there's a reason why we're still, challenging Manchester City in April, and I think obviously on paper at the start of the season, to us anyway, it looked like Chelsea could mount a title challenge alongside Liverpool and Man City, but it is Sarri's first season after all, so I think he needed time to try and figure out his best system, the starting 11, the philosophy as well. So I don't think there's a huge gap in quality between the two teams, but I think we edge it at the moment. The way we're playing, I think we're just slightly ahead at the moment. But that's not to say it's going to be a very easy game. It's going to be a very difficult game. So, but I think we'd have to be favourites for now.
All right. So let's start with the home side then, and I'll go to that here. So let's bring on our tactics upon here, and what is the lineup that you pick now? Let's just we know who the keeper is going to be. We know the defensive line. We know the attack. So every time I always do my previews, and whenever I do my previews that's concerning Liverpool, I always say that the decision is what is the midfield. There is no the defense is, or the defense picks itself, the attack picks itself. It's about what combination do you use in the midfield. So knowing that you're going up against a Chelsea, let's assume, obviously I'll give Forward the mic of the lineup. Let's just assume it's that lineup that against West Ham. Which midfield do you pick that you think could tactically best deal with the Chelsea team, both defensively and offensively?
You're talking about Liverpool's midfield, right?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. I think we've got a choice between Henderson.
I don't want to get choice. I want to hear facts. Which
all right, okay. The three midfielders I'd personally go with in this game would be Fabinho, as he's our best number 6. I mean, he's pretty much the one who protects the defense. So. And the other two, I think Naby Keita, has to start because he's done really well in the last 2 games. He's starting to settle in right now. And he's also the reason why our front 3 now are starting to be more fluid, in terms of movement. They know that Naby Keita can dribble past players. And the other option would have to be Jordan Henderson because of his form, solely because of his form. I think Wijnaldum has been arguably our best midfielder this season, but we've got to try the same midfield that beat Porto because it gave us a lot in terms of creativity, tenacity. We were pressing really high up as well. I mean, Henderson under Klopp would normally be a number 6, but because of Fabinho, I think he's a lot better as a number 8. That way, he doesn't have to dictate from deep. We all know, ability-wise, he's not as talented, or he's a little bit limited in a sense. But as a number 8, there's more freedom for him to just, join the attacks, as you saw against Southampton. The Porto game, I have to say, was probably his best performance
and he was very good.
In many years, actually. So I would go with Fabinho, Henderson, and Naby Keita for sure.
Oh, so because again, I'm still a fan of Keita. So are you sure you would trust Keita in this game? Because again, the games that wait, which game did Keita play before the FC Porto game?
Southampton.
So again, look, I'm a huge Keita fan, but would you trust him in this game, knowing that this is much better opposition than both Southampton and FC Porto? You'd still trust him in this game?
I'd definitely still trust him. 2 reasons. Obviously, the first reason is that he's now much more in tune with the team. He started the last 2 games. He scored in both of them as well, which I didn't really expect. I actually thought he would go the entire season without scoring a goal, to be fair with you. But it's just his ability, really. I mean, even if he doesn't play well in a game, he does have those glimpses where he can go past 2 or 3 players. Just opens up more space, because if we go with the Brexit midfield, or if we go with Wijnaldum and Henderson and Fabinho, it's just a bit more conservative, and we don't want to allow Chelsea to have more freedom in midfield, because they'll have Loftus-Cheek, Jorginho, and Kante most likely. So we want to combat that with our best midfield. All
right, so forward. Let's just say that you're in charge, not Sarri is in charge. Let's say you're in charge. Let's say you've got the mic. What is a lineup that you pick to deliver the goods at the Field of Anne? Which lineup do you go with?
Well, I've thought about this question for quite a while, and I've come across something a bit different from most. I think most people are looking to start with an orthodox striker, and either Giroud or Higuain. But I think for this game in particular, I would want to go with Hazard in the false 9 position. The main reason for that, I think, is and again,
wait, what? Is that what you mean? Wait, Hazard false 9?
Yes, that's what I would go.
Okay, wait. Just go from back to front. Just go from keeper to striker. Let's just build from back to front. What's the lineup?
So from back to front normally picks itself generally. Kepa obviously in goal. Aspilicueta at right back. Luiz obviously the main centre back, and between Rudiger and Christensen, I would go with Christensen, although I believe Rudiger will start. But again, I have the mic, so Christensen starting alongside Luiz, and 100% Emerson at left back. We don't want to mention that other guy's name whatsoever.
We don't.
Into the midfield, Jorginho as the deep man playmaker, Kante and Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and in the forward line, Hudson-Odoi off the right, Willian off the left, and Hazard down the middle.
Interesting.
Oh, okay. Before I respond to that, why are you going with that 3?
So again, I know Willian's not been in the greatest form, of course, but neither has really Higuain. And to be fair, Giroud does scored in his recent league games, but how effective has he really been against a team like Liverpool? Again, in a big game, he's been a good facilitator and trying to get the best out of Hazard. I don't think that's always going to necessarily work against a team like Liverpool. Of course, with their centre-backs being very physical, like Van Dijk and Matip, I think Van Dijk's been brilliant this season. I feel like instead of trying to go with a physical approach, I feel like, again, there's 2 reasons why I want to do this. The first reason is because I think Hazard's mobility will give Liverpool quite a lot of issues, and obviously allow him to free roam and obviously help us retain possession higher up the field. Because again, if it goes to Higuain, I don't think it will stick. If it goes to Giroud, it might stick, but again, his fluidity on the ball isn't amazing. But with Hazard, he's going to at least win a foul, draw something, or maybe even take out a man. And then obviously you have the pace of Willian and Cho on the wings to obviously play those passes through. Now the second reason, which I think is the most important reason as to why I would start Hazard up front rather than on the left wing, is because we have to be real. Liverpool's main threats comes from their wing-backs. The wing-backs have been amazing this season. Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold. In fact, Arnold, in his recent games, has been playing on a lot of really key assists. There was obviously the one against Southampton for Keita's goal. There was the one against Porto as well. Even the one that was, I think, done offside for Mane's goal, which should have been a crucial third goal. I think that was just offside, which was also from Trent Alexander-Arnold. So he's made a lot of key passes in recent games, and I feel like rather than having Hazard have to focus too much defensively on trying to track him down, I'd rather have someone like Willian who can maybe do that little bit of hard work there. And it has a bit more of a free work in which we can try to hit Liverpool on a counter-attack. Because my main thing is, we're not looking to play Liverpool off the park again. They're the ones who need to come onto us. So Alara let them draw onto us. We tried to defend like we did against Man City in the League Cup final, and then look to hit them on a counter attack. Because I think with that pace against their backline, we can definitely cause issues like that. Because again, if we were to play on the ball, it really is really dicey because we know how dangerous and lethal Liverpool can be on a counter attack. So
okay, so I see where you're coming from with this one. Actually, yeah.
Before I bring it down here, let me just quickly, because I'm sure, because I wanted to see what Dahir has to respond if that's the lineup. See, my issue with that lineup is this: if you're going up against one of the best defensive sides in the league, you need to have a recognized striker. Like this is just a fundamental footballing rule that I try and always speak about in my videos, is that if you're going up against a top defensive side, 1000% you go with a recognized striker. 100%. That's the first thing. Second thing is you'll play your best player in his best position. Don't try and get fancy. Hazard's best position is wide left. That is his best position. Don't try and be like, oh my gosh, Hazard can do this, can do everything. You know what? He can play false line. No. Because if you play Hazard in that false line position, Liverpool, first of all, if Liverpool see that, they'll be like, my God, thank goodness, we are going to have it easy, because they will 100% nullify him. 100% they will not nullify him, because if he goes small and try and go speed, you'll have Williams' indecisiveness. And also, when Hudson-Odoi gets the ball, who is he going to cross to? Nobody. Hazard ain't going to get to that ball. Williams ain't going to get to that ball. So that's part of the game of, you know what, let me try to get to the back line and cross. That's been taken out because you have no height, you have no presence, you have no natural striker who has the natural instincts of getting onto crosses. Hazard really does not have natural instincts of getting at the end of crosses that Giroud does. Let me bring it to Dahir. If that is the lineup that they go with, how would you respond to that?
You know what, I see where Forward is coming from, in a sense that he would go with Hazard as the false nine, because for one, Higuain hasn't hit the ground running. I mean, I think his only goals have come against Huddersfield and Fulham. Giroud as well wouldn't be as suited to this game because he's not going to run in behind. You know, he's not really in tune with the style. But I think it will bring more negatives if for Chelsea if Hazard plays as a false nine. Because if you remember against Arsenal, Hazard did play as a false nine and Chelsea were not effective at all. So the very few times that they've used Hazard as a false nine, not much has happened. So I do agree with UHH in the sense that he should play in his best position, because as good as Trent Alexander-Arnold is, I think defensively he has been at times average. I mean, especially against a top class player like Hazard who can test him on that side. But overall, I think what Sarri is going to do is he's just going to go with Hazard as a left winger and Higuain up front. But if he does go with the false nine, I think it's going to be easier for us to nullify Chelsea.
Okay. So let me roll back to let me give it back to Forward then. So how is the approach? How is the approach to beating? First of all, how is the approach to beating to Liverpool? I expose them. We'll get to what they should do defensively. So offensively, okay, let's go with your setup. Where you have obviously Loftus-Cheek coming up with the ball from the midfield, and you have Hazard false nine, Hudson-Odoi, and Willian. What is the approach? What is the tactical approach to getting past Van Dijk, Matip, and so forth? And
again, with my as well. Yes. Again, with my approach, it's centered more around being a better counter-attacking team. Again, I think with Arsenal game, and I think that was a really good example. However, in that game, again, we had Barkley as the number 8. We had Pedro at right wing. Again, players who are not adept at keeping the ball in the forward areas and making really incisive passes now. Again, with Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Hudson-Odoi. Again, I understand your point about Hazard maybe being a better player, certainly at left wing, and maybe we're nullifying our best player, which again is something that I'm normally best practice with. But again, on a counter attack with the players, obviously like agile players who can move the ball forward, like Hudson-Odoi and obviously Ruben Loftus-Cheek, I feel like it would cause Liverpool a lot of issues. Again, one thing that's caused Liverpool a lot of issues in the past has been pacing behind and people who can really take the game to them. Again, when teams play in front of Liverpool, they're not able to bank up, be really solid defensively, and then hit teams basically on the counter. So I feel like in terms of giving them the most issues, I feel like you really need to play those penetrative passes, be more direct, and really take the game to them when you're obviously on the ball and trying to go for the counter attacks and be quick. If we try to slow the game down too much, Liverpool will be comfortable with just screening that in front of them again with the likes of Fabinho or Henderson. They're more than happy just to put those balls into the channels for the likes of Mane and Salah to run onto. So I think it's mainly about being decisive, being quick, and again, not taking too long on the ball in attacking areas.
I mean, like, I want to respond to that whole quickness and my arguments for Giroud playing the ball. Dahir, attacking wise, what will be the approach for Liverpool breaking down the defensive pairing of Luiz and Christensen?
To be fair, I think Liverpool's approach won't really change that much, because for the majority of the season, Jurgen Klopp has played that 4-3-3. The front three obviously picks itself, but I think the approach is just going to be.
But in terms of, is it a case of where you'd want Firmino to come in much more deeper?
That's what you mean.
A lot higher. You'd want Salah to go a bit more wide. You'd want Mana to get a bit more into the number 10 position. How do you think that front three should be positioned when they attack?
I think the front three, regardless of who we play, they normally interchange quite a lot anyway. But obviously, if Naby Keita does start, it's going to be a lot easier for Firmino in terms of he wouldn't have to drop back as much to try and dictate or create anything. So I think if Naby Keita starts, then it'll be a lot easier for Firmino. That way, he doesn't have to drop back, try and facilitate every move. Obviously, as Forward touched on earlier, our wing backs are going to be very, very important in this game. They win us games lately. I mean, Arnold and Robertson, they will overlap constantly. But at the same time, the one thing that helps is that Fabinho, he's almost like an auxiliary fullback. He does cover for whichever one goes forward. So I just think we need to make sure that whenever our fullbacks are pushing forward, that we're not susceptible on the break with Hudson-Odoi and Eden Hazard.
But just very briefly, but just one thing that I'm worried about, I'm sure you will look at. Yeah. That's Naby Keita, Jorginho thing, man. That could be a problem for Dahir. Carry on.
Yeah. I was gonna say about Jorginho. I think for him, it's gonna be really important, to play quickly out of the press, because we're gonna try and press him very high.
Dude plays at one speed, bro. So I mean,
yeah, he does. Yeah, but he's still a very good player. I just think he's still trying to get used to the pace of the Premier League and whatnot. But as for your question, how we should attack, I just think we're gonna be very, very in front. We're going to play directly, we're going to play aggressively, and we're going to try and make sure that we exploit Chelsea's wing backs, their full backs, obviously, Azpilicueta. And if it is Marcos Alonso, it's obviously going to be a lot easier. But
that guy instantly.
He's not.
He's not going to play. I know. But Emerson's a lot more assured. But despite that, I still think we're going to play with a 4-3-3, more with a high press, high direct, to be more direct. But I think the 4-2-3-1 was working for us as well, but I think both teams will play the same system, and it's going to be a case of making sure that Firmino is in the right positions, and not always dropping deep to start moves. So that way we have a presence inside the box.
All right, so forward then. So how do Chelsea nullify Liverpool if these guys are going to start aggressive? The wing backs are going to come in very aggressively. Naby Keita is going to keep on trying to walk that through ball. The ball's going to keep on going forward. Are you fearful of Jorginho? Does Kante need to help Jorginho a bit more? Do you think Luiz and Christensen can cope with possible balls into the near post that Firmino is getting upon? How do Chelsea deal with what? Because those first 6 minutes are going to be key. Because Chelsea are going to be on the back foot. So how do Chelsea deal with nullifying the Liverpool attack?
Yeah, I do think the Jorginho thing is a factor, is a really big issue. I think both offensively for us and defensively. I think one big criticism I've had of him is his lack of athleticism. Again, I've seen players run past him at will at times this season in big games. But one thing that I think really worked well recently, again, against Man City in the League Cup final and against Tottenham the following week, was we played a little bit more conservative, where Kante, it wasn't quite a 4-2-3-1, but Kante would drop a little bit more alongside Jorginho, just giving that extra bit of cover, which I think will definitely be needed against a team like Liverpool. And again, in terms of what we need to do to defend against them, and this is where I went along with my plan of obviously having wingers who are a bit more adept defensively, as Willian and Cho. Now, even if it's Hazard, I think Hazard can do a job, and obviously we know what he opposes going forward. I think it is important to stop Liverpool's supply from the wings, because against Southampton, for instance, through the middle, nothing really happened. Against Liverpool didn't really look to play through the middle. They looked really just to go wide and then try to play those balls, even deep crosses from like the kind of the middle third. Okay, they will play the occasional ball in behind, but I think one thing Southampton did really well is when they pressed. when they defended, they sat deep and they looked to then try and pick the ball off of them and then go for a counter. And that's kind of where my whole game plan is. Again, whether Hazard starts false 9 or not, if it even is Giroud, we need to pay respect to Liverpool because, again, I think they're the best team in Europe right now. And so just how they play, especially at home, and how dangerous they've been and how clinical they've been with their games. We can't afford to let Liverpool get ahead of this team, which is why I'm willing to take a bit more of a conservative approach. Again, look to hit them more on a counter and try to build into the game. Because if you look at it, our last 6 times we've gone to Anfield in the league, we've not lost. 4 draws and 4 draws. Yeah. Four draws and 2 wins again. So we actually had good form going into Liverpool with similar tactics. So again, I feel like we've got what it takes to do that. It's just whether or not we're going to make those mistakes that have cost us in the past. And again, when I go to someone like David Luiz, who again has great games, again, he was man of the match in Liverpool against Liverpool in the first game, and he also can have really bad games.
Kind of have lapses in defense, bro. You know that.
Oh no, he's kind of like Paul Pogba in a sense where his good games are really, really good, but his bad games are horrible. And we obviously need a great game out of David Luiz. Again, he's a big game player and he will turn up for this. Again, whether he's almost 2 punt for the game and he makes mistakes, then obviously we're gonna pay for it daily against the likes of Mane, Firmino, and if Salah turns up. But obviously he's on his game, then he's got what it takes to lock down those guys up front. So again, I'm confident, and it depends on how the players perform and if they're in the right mental shape.
Just to ask, would you go with Rudiger next to him or Christensen if you had a choice?
But we're going. Forward, go.
Yeah, I would go with Christensen. I think Rudiger's physicality was needed against West Ham with Arnautovic up front, so I was happy with his inclusion there. But for Liverpool, again, Firmino's got decent physicality, but I think Christensen can deal with that. And again, his positioning, I think, is just a lot better. And
Christensen's a very capable.
David Luiz and Rudiger are quite similar. That they're both aggressive. They're both like Norfolk, like on a pole, for instance. But with Christensen, he's more relaxed, he's more reserved, and he will let David Luiz push forward and he'll kind of cover in behind. So I feel like that's just a much better balance. For me, Christensen should
you obviously need Luiz for the distribution as well. So
100%. Again, his distribution is going to be key. Again, against Man City, again, that was a great game where we played Hazard in the false 9 and it did work. He got 2 assists that game. And David Luiz passing out the back was absolutely immaculate. I mean, some of the passes that he did.
No, I do agree
in that game. But
also
he was amazing in that game.
That game, Chelsea were at home, City were away. Like, that makes a big difference. It makes a big difference, man. Like, who's playing at home? Because again, same thing with the Southampton game. Liverpool were away from home. That's a big deal. It's a big deal. That home and away thing is a really big deal. So, but look, so Dahir, how do you stop Chelsea and Zad then?
To be fair, not to disrespect Chelsea, but we're going to have to focus.
Easy. Okay,
we're going to have to focus on Eden Hazard a lot because he's actually, I would say, about 80 or 90% of Chelsea's threat alone. Yep. And to be fair, we just have to make sure that Fabinho, Henderson, Salah, Trent Arnold, they're all making sure that we track back accordingly. We're not leaving Hazard 1v1 against Trent Alexander-Arnold. That way we're going to struggle a bit more because I think Hazard will have the beating of him any day. So we have to make sure that Salah tracks back. We have to make sure that Henderson's covering or Fabinho's covering. We just have to team up on him, basically. Other than that, I think the threats could come from, obviously, it could come from Hudson-Odoi. You never know. But that battle between Hudson-Odoi and Robertson is going to be a very interesting one for me, like, to watch. I'm not really sure where Chelsea's threat comes from, apart from Hazard, if I'm honest with you.
And that's where I got to jump in. I also got to say that, with your 11, from your perspective, I do like that you have Henderson in there because, again, him at right centre mid, obviously alongside Fabinho and Keita, who's a bit more attacking. I think you're going to need that defensive cover. Again, by now, then, I think I agree. He's been great for you this season, but in a game like this, you do want Henderson's defensive qualities, especially against someone like Hazard, who will drift up that left-hand side.
Which is why I'm so shocked that you're going with that lineup, because if they have Henderson and Fabinho with Van Dijk and Matip, that is a tough, hardcore defense because we don't know about Van Dijk. Henderson puts in a damn shift, bro. If you're going with a false 9, Chelsea are not going to. I don't think they'll even get a shot on.
Yeah, the false 9 wouldn't work. Yeah.
I'm looking for the counter attack, but we will. Let's go off the basis that we're going to start Giroud because I think it makes it easier for this little line of conversation. So again, with obviously Giroud starting up front, and we have Hazard drifting off the left. Again, I do agree with you guys. Hazard is a big part of our, probably like 75% of our attacking threat. Again, Emerson adds something off the left back because again, Alonso offers nothing. So I think it's going to be important to have Hazard there, but. One thing you're missing, and again, we've been talking about it all week, and we get a lot of shit about it. People are saying that I have a light skin fetish, which is quite strange.
Oh,
but okay. But a main factor in this game, which people are underrating, is Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I think, again, for the Sarri system, again, he had Hamsik at Napoli. He, again, was an amazing player. Again, he was not actually a defensive player beforehand, but Sarri really revolutionized him in that position. Now, for the whole season, we've been struggling with the likes of Barkley, who, again, is just not that kind of player. He's not a Chelsea level player, in my opinion. Well. Kovacic, decent footballer, but again, he would be world class if there was no goals in football. Like, if he could just play around in circles all day, he'd be amazing at that. But we need to score goals. So we need somebody who can take the ball forward and make something happen. And with Ruben Loftus-Cheek, again, his effortless motion. I mean, we saw that long range goal the other day. Like, look, he was just having a stroll in the park. He thought, let me just put it in the top corner. He did it. We've literally.
He certainly has the ability, no doubt about that.
He's got the ability to like move past the likes of Henderson. And for me, he's like a 6'3" Hazard in a sense, where his dribbling, he's so agile, he can go either way off either foot. And I mean, the way he's just bouncing Declan Rice off the pitch at times.
I think that's probably his best attribute, to be fair. He's done that.
Before, see, this is a key thing. It's like 100% superb performance by Loftus-Cheek against West Ham, and by the whole team, especially Loftus-Cheek, he looks great. But you have to understand that this is much better opposition in Liverpool. And the thing about, this is why I even wanted to respond to you is that with the whole, because I get where you're coming from in, okay, if Liverpool are really high up, have an overload, the counter-attack has more speed and more mobility with Hudson-Odoi, Hazard, and Willian, which is true. But then you have to give credit to Fabinho, Henderson, and Van Dijk in their reading of the game, where they won't allow themselves to be that susceptible to those counterattacks because they know that once we're on the overload, we have to read the game very well. And if you haven't Hazard in that striker position, I'm sure Van Dijk's reading of the game or Henderson's reading of the game of Fabinho will make sure and nullify and ensure that, boom, nothing happens. And we know how bad Willian is at decision-making. Yeah. And the key thing to counterattacks is decision-making. You have to make the right decision or else it won't work. And my thing about this is it's Giroud. Giroud's greatest strength is his link-up play. He's a very intelligent player. So don't be fooled by, he's not that quick, he's not that fast. What Giroud does very well is with one touch, he knows the right ball to play because he's very aware of what's around him. So he knows that as soon as I receive the ball, I know who's behind me. I know the touch to make. I know the pass to make. And whereas Willian makes poor decisions, Giroud most of the time makes the right decision. Right?
He's very underrated in that sense, to be fair.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I mean, for me, he should have been the guy we should have been looking to from the start of the season. Again, if he's good enough for the world champions, he should be good enough for us to start. And I just know, especially because he started in the Europa League game, that Sarri's going to go with his boy Higuain up front. And with Higuain, he's not shown enough. Again, he's only scored in those Cardiff and Huddersfield games, and that's big for me because he scored against two teams which you'd almost expect him to score against today, and nobody else.
I think the lineup
in general play, he doesn't offer enough.
Yeah, the lineup Sarri picked on Thursday, like you said, does indicate what he's going to do on Sunday.
Yeah, that is massive to me. So,
all right, so let me bring in this group. I'll take this to Dahir and then I'll give it to Forward. So let's just paint a scenario. If Liverpool, let's say Liverpool draw this game, because I think again, anything is possible. A loss is unlikely, but it's still possible. But let's just say if Liverpool draw let's say City win, Liverpool draw. Is the title over, or do you think that it's almost over, but not yet fully over?
It is 100% over.
Whoa!
We cannot afford to do. I think if City win and we draw, then you're looking at a bad situation, honestly.
But City still have United away and Tottenham as well.
I know, but I think psychologically that will give them a huge boost, and we will still probably win the remaining 4 games, but I think that will give City a huge boost to win all the games, probably.
Okay, so for Forward then, let's say if Chelsea lose, how much does that damage the top 4 hopes, or do you still think that it's still open, even if Chelsea lose the game?
Man, I'd given up when it came to when I got to the Wolves game and we drew that game. I'd given up at that point. But with how teams have been looking, especially Arsenal's away from that, we can almost guarantee they're going to drop points. United have been, Ollie's at the wall, but he's been drink driving for as far as I'm concerned. Tottenham, they're perennial bottle jobs, so we know what they can do. We've got a chance, and even if we were to lose to Liverpool, it would be a massive blow. But that would just mean that we then need to beat Man United in 2 weeks' time. So it would be a huge blow, but it wouldn't be everything. And again, I almost wouldn't mind if we just win or lose. If we draw, it kind of leaves it open. But if we were to lose and we're just out of it, then we can kind of put our eggs into the basket of the Europa League and just go all out for that and get Champions League football, which is kind of
totally
the
agree.
safety net that we have. Now, with Liverpool, there's no safety net. You've got to win this game.
Yeah, no. I think even if it is a must-win for both, but it's a greater must-win for Liverpool than it is for.
I was going to say, and just to add, I think whatever happens in this game, Chelsea will be alive in the top four race.
Yes.
Arsenal will drop points, United will drop points, Spurs will drop points.
Okay, so let's again. This is for both of you guys, but I think maybe Dahir will go first. But just, again, for both of you guys, I want to talk about the Salah factor in this. So again, that goal he scored, huge goal. Had gone through a massive drought. Was going through. I thought that he'd pass. I was saying, pass, but he ended up scoring an amazing goal. So, should Salah's mindset still be based off that goal, shoot on sight? I'm the goal scorer, shoot on sight, or do you think that he should defer more to Firmino and Mane?
You know what? Because the game is very, very important. I think the second option is the best option for Salah. He has to just be a team player. I mean.
So obviously, wait. Let me paint a scenario. So if let's say it's a 3-on-3 or a 3-on-2 in Liverpool's favor, so Salah has the ball, he's running in through 85th minutes, 1-1. Would he say, Salah, you're the goal scorer, go for goal, or would you want him to defer and give it either Mane or Firmino?
He has to pass it. Obviously, he has to pass it. And just to go back to the goal he scored against Southampton, I think Firmino's run just was a bit too close to him. So in the end, it kind of he was left with little to no choice but to get the shot off. But if we are in a situation like that where we're on the counter attack and it's 3 versus 1, and he has Salah, he has Mane and Firmino either side, then he's got to just make sure he picks the right decision. He makes the right decision. But I think because he's scored now, because he's ended his drought, I think it's going to be much easier for him, to slowly get back in the groove. But I think he has a better chance of scoring the winner than maybe setting up a goal. But you're right. He has been rushing it quite a lot the last the last month or so. He's been in terrible form. But the goal against Southampton will give him the confidence to maybe not overcomplicate things.
All right, Ford, thoughts on that? What the Egyptian icon's mindsets be?
So just to confirm, so you think he should defer more to his teammates?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, I think in reality, it would be nice if he did that, but we know he's not going to. Let's just cut the bullshit. We know he's going to just go for himself. Again, we saw his interview after, I believe it was the Tottenham game, where he's talking about, some people having the best careers of the best seasons of their careers. They've only got one goal less than me. You saw that. So again, I like the passion out of him. It was cool to see that from a footballer, because again, they can be very robotic characters, but that also showed that he's reading the comments. He knows that people are on his case and they're saying that, you're only a one-season wonder, or you're not the guy you were last season. And yes, statistically, he's having a good season, but when it's really counted these last 2-3 months, he's been poor. And now he had that breakthrough moment against Southampton. It was a really good goal. Everybody's talking about it. And he knows that this is his last big game against a big opposition, where if I score in this game, then it kind of erases everything that happened before. And you know what? I'm the guy that helped us win the league title. Whereas if he doesn't, he's going to feel like, you know what? We may have won the league title, but I didn't contribute to the max effect. So I feel like he's going to go for the goal. No matter what the situation is, he's going to look for himself. Again, he's kind of got that Ronaldo-esque kind of mentality where it's all about him right now to score those goals. Because we kind of saw it when he was in the race for the Golden Boot last year, and he kind of just went a bit selfish. And he's kind of kept that mentality where it's more to the detriment of the team at times, but it also helped him get a lot of goals. But with this season, his finish has not been as clinical. And I mean, we see what against Bayern Munich, where he fluffed the 2v1. They could have passed the money. We saw it against Fulham. We saw it against obviously Southampton, where he scored. We saw it against Tottenham, where he could have passed the money when there was 1-on-1 via Alderweireld. He's going to do it again. If he's 1-on-1 with David Luiz and Mane's on the left, he's going to try and take David Luiz and try and shoot.
Yeah, just to add,
he could score because he's got the ability. I'm not going to disregard his ability. Salah's an amazing player, but it could also cost you. And again, you can't do that so many times and get away with it, because Mane's bailed him out many times. Firmino bailed him out against Tottenham, but only so many times can you get away with that. And again, if you were to choke it on this stage against Chelsea, your former club like this, which is the biggest game of your season right now, I mean, the fans are not going to be happy. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dahir, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. I think against Porto also he was through on goal and he missed one. But so he's still not fully clicking, but I think he's going to be very motivated for this game on Sunday, knowing that Chelsea's his former club, knowing the stakes are high. I don't think he's going to play as badly as we've seen in the last couple of weeks. But then again, we do know that he can maybe pick the wrong choice here and there. But I think he's going to be very important in this game. I'm not saying he'll be man of the match or he'll score a hat-trick or anything like that. That's not going to happen. But he can, he can contribute in a way that we've seen in the last maybe 2 or 3 games against, he didn't score against Tottenham, but he was very important, in just heading that back in and just seeing what happens. But I think he's going to play decent, but I'm not sure if he's going to score the winner.
Just to come back in quickly, again, Salah, amazing player. Again, when he gets 1v1 in the box, let's say against David Luiz, he's not the best tackler, especially 1v1. He can be dangerous, devastating, but he's not Eden Hazard. He's not going to be in contention for man of the match in this game. For him, it's all about that decisive moment. Whether he's good or not throughout the rest of the pitch, it's all about that one moment where he will get that chance, which he probably will because of his movement, because his movement's amazing. It's will he take that chance? Will he make the right decision, first of all, maybe in the passing or to take the shot? Probably go for the shot no matter what. And will he take the chance? Again, based on recent form, who knows? It's 50-50 on that. So
yeah, I think the man of the match would probably be between Mane, Hazard, and Van Dijk.
Yeah. Okay, so wait, let me bring in let's talk Zad. Let's talk Zad. So obviously, Ford can kick this off and then Dahir, you can then come back with it.
For sure.
So how likely do you feel Zad could be a decisive factor in this game? Or do you think that he will be nullified and shut down in this game, Ford? How will Zad rise like a phoenix? Yes or no?
Okay, let's go with the narrative that he's playing left wing, because I think that is, again, we don't want to.
No. You said false nine. Don't bloody change your bloody thing.
Okay.
Let's just keep it at left wing.
Yeah, I think left wing makes. Again, we're gonna see him play.
That's his best position after all.
Yeah, it is. So again, I think there's to get the best out of Hazard as well. So again, left wing Hazard, we know what he can do against Trent Alexander-Arnold 1v1. I guess again, he's been an amazing form. Even his dribble when he came off the bench against Sparta Prague. I mean, he did some disgusting dribble, which
preach.
I mean, it was just filthy, man. Again, this guy. I hope he doesn't leave. But look, we know what he can do. He's been decisive. I think his best team that he's come up against in the top 6 has been Liverpool. He's had some of his best moments against them. That wonderful solo goal in a League Cup, which knocked them out. Obviously, the amazing team goal, which he then finished off in the league as well at Stamford Bridge, which we should have won until Sturridge got an amazing goal to equalise. We know what Hazard can do. Amazing player. I think it's going to also be helped the fact that he has now Ruben Loftus-Cheek with him. Again, I'm praying Sarri plays this 11, but as long as he has Ruben Loftus-Cheek alongside him, he can obviously interchange with him. Emerson, and it's so important to have a wing back who's going to overlap with you, because when you have Alonso making inverted runs, it doesn't help you as a winger. He wants to take people on because you're not drawing any players out when you make runs into the box. If you overlap, then it asks Trent Alexander that question, however, do I go around there and mark the overlap and maybe stop a cutback cross, or do I stop the best player in the league? And more often than not, you're going to try and stop the best player in the league and obviously leave space for Emerson. So it's going to cause a lot of issues. It's going to make people like Henderson and Fabinho leave their man to try and attract to him. So that's what Hazard can do. Hazard is going to be amazing and a big threat for us. He's going to be our most important player, and we really need him to turn up.
Do you think he will be the decisive factor? Yes or no? It's a yes or no question. Do you think he will be the decisive factor?
Yes, 100%.
Okay,
I believe it. I believe it will happen.
Dahir, Zad, how decisive do you think Zad will be in this game?
I think he could be very decisive, but then again, it really, as talented and as great a footballer as Hazard is, I think it will depend on how Chelsea play. First of all, I want to clear this up. I think Eden Hazard is exceptional. He's one of the best players in the world, and he's certainly the best player in the league.
Yes,
I agree. He's a top 5 player in the league in the world. He's the best player in the league based on overall career and talent.
Yes.
Not on form, definitely not on form, but overall, he's the best. And how effective will he be in this game, you ask me? I have to say he will be very influential, but I'm not sure whether it's going to be enough for the victory, because at the end of the day, Chelsea have to play well. They have to feed off him. Emerson has to make the overlap. Loftus-Cheek has to get it in the box, dribble, pass plays. Hudson-Odoi needs to do his bit. So it depends on the team dynamics. We're more of a team. We don't have a player that is better than Hazard. We have players on his level like Mane and Salah, etc. But on that pitch, Hazard will be the best player. So we need to make sure that we nullify him as well as possible. And he could be a decisive factor. But obviously, I'm a Liverpool fan, so I'm going to say he will not be a decisive factor. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's let's now get to the exciting part, predictions now. So we'll start with
no.
So Ford, how do you see? First of all, how do you see the match going? Tell me the story of the match and what will the results be.
Robertson passes to Van Dijk. Van Dijk slips. And now I'm joking. I'm joking. Let's not go there. That'll be great.
If that happens, then I'll see you guys next year.
1,000 times based on the abuse I've been having for Liverpool about Van Dijk. But come on, let's be real.
No, again, I think it's going to be important how we approach the game again. If we play a similar tempo to how we played against West Ham and Brighton, that's when we're going to see the best out of Jorginho again. I know I've understood your criticisms of him, HH, but I think you saw in the West Ham game and against Brighton what he can do when we're playing at that tempo again. Some of his passes in behind, passes into feet of Kante. We saw how he just unlocked that right hand side of the pitch when Kante and Hudson-Odoi were playing there. The boom was just so much quicker, and I think he needs players like Hudson-Odoi who are going to be trying to make the first movement so that we can play on that first touch, because you know how Napoli play. It's all about 1-2 touch football. When you got Pedro, he's running in circles in behind. Aspilicueta, he's always like tentative and doesn't know when to pass the ball. It slows things down. But when you got Hudson-Odoi, he's literally going to call for the ball. I want it now. And they make that move. You know, Kante, he's head down, boom, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get the ball forward. We can play a lot better. So again, long story short, it's going to be about how we play. We're going to obviously have to minimize mistakes. Everybody's got to be on top. Again, I rate Liverpool highly. Again, for me, the way that they've improved is like that girl in secondary school. You saw she looked decent, but then you just see her like in a uni like block party, and then she's like a 10 out of 10. You're like,
good analogy,
like, bro. You're like, shit, you leveled up, because for real, I remember 3-4 years ago, Liverpool couldn't defend for shit. Like, you were like, bro, you knew Liverpool were going to see from every single corner that happened. Yes, they could always score goals, but defensively, a liability. But now with Van Dijk and the better coach in the club, I think he deserves a lot of credit. They've been a lot better defensively. So we're going to have to take our chances. We won't get many, but we're going to have to be clinical. So Hazard's got to be on point. Hudson, if he gets the chance, he's got to step up, be a man, and take the opportunities. Ruben Loftus-Cheek's going to be massive in this game. And also N'Golo Kante, we've not mentioned him at all, but he lives for games like this. He lives for games like this.
That dude.
Again, when we play teams like West Ham and Brighton, who are going to sit back on the counter-attack, we don't see the best of Kante. Yes, he's going forward and he's good dribbling. He's decent decision-making, but you can see he's not a natural creative player. But again, in games like this where it's going to be a bit more open, his energy is going to be very vital against people like Henderson, Keita, and Fabinho. That's a game where he can definitely thrive. So, and he was also amazing in the first game against them. I think our best player in our first game against you in the league was
Forward. I need that scoreline. I need that scoreline.
Wow, thought about this a long time. I mean, do I bottle it and say 1-1? Do I bottle it and say 1-1?
Yes. Well, no. That would be bottling it. I need a real scoreline.
It would be. I'm gonna be real with it, man. It's gonna be a tough game. But just like 5 years ago, I'm gonna go 2-0. 2-0 Chelsea.
Wow.
Wait, what's 2-1 or 2-0?
2-0 Chelsea.
What?
Wow.
Yep. It's going to be a masterclass. We're going to have to ride our luck. Salah's going to miss a big chance.
Okay. Dada, here. Tell me the
story
of the game and the results.
All right. Just before I get to the predictions, obviously that game 5 years ago has been mentioned a lot this week, and you know the infamous Gerrard slip, you know, etc. The thing is, what some people need to understand is that was 5 years ago. I mean, this is a different team, different manager, different dynamics, and I think the story of the game will be obviously the way we usually play at home. We're going to dominate. We're going to create a lot of chances. We're going to test Kepa. But I think as far as scoreline goes, I've changed really a lot. I've had so many scorelines for this game. And not all of them were Liverpool wins, by the way, actually. I've picked a draw a few times as well in my head. But I'm going to say it's going to be 1-0 to Liverpool. I think it's going to be 1-0. We're not going to see a lot. Who scores? Mane.
Oh, actually, okay, wait. So, who scores the 2 goals for Chelsea?
Hazard penalty. And a David Luiz free kick. He scored one 3 years ago against Liverpool. It's been a while. Wow. It's been a while since he scored a free kick. Again, I think for me, he scored the best free kick goal I can remember in a World Cup. That goal against, I think, was it Mexico or Colombia? Was it? I think Colombia.
It was Colombia. Colombia.
It was
so
him.
It's been a while.
Silva scored the other one.
It's been a while since he's done that. So that's what I want to go. But again, go for it.
I just want to say, I think it's going to be 0-0 until the 85th minute, and Mane is going to score a deflected goal.
No, for me. So that's another thing I wanted to ask is, like, do you think it's going to be a tight game, an open game, or open, tight, open, then tight?
I think it's going to be the sort of game that's going to be tight, but in a tactical sense, where both teams are going to miss chances. it's not going to be a case of Chelsea being conservative, because that's not what they like under Sarri. They like to dominate games and be on the front foot. If they were under Mourinho or under Conte, say, it would be very, very hard and difficult to break them down. But I can see us maybe being very wasteful until the very end, because we've had, let's face it, obviously we're not top by luck, but we've had moments and goals where the Origi one, the own goal by Toby Alderweireld, where we just get that lucky breakthrough. So I just feel like, the signs basically, yeah. So I feel like the 1-0, if it does happen, like my prediction, I think it's going to be a goal that's going to be not the prettiest. It might be a scrappy one. So it might be a Mane deflection. It might be a penalty. Who knows? But I've gone for the main man, Mane.
All right.
And how I see the game going. Again, wow. I mean, I think it's going to be a game where it's going to be quite tight, but it's going to be like moments of explosion where there's going to be like maybe a couple of end-to-end exchanges, and it's going to go back to like a similar pattern of maybe Liverpool holding the ball. But again, it really does depend on how Chelsea approach the game. Again, we could approach it how we approached the League Cup final, where we were very respectful of Man City, very hands-off, and we kind of built our way into the game. And then in the second half, we really turned it on and could have obviously scored quite a few goals in the second half. Or we could approach it how we approached the league game against Man City away from home, where we got absolutely. What's the 6-0 mean? What is that? Crucifixion, is that, or?
I need to
baptism.
Wait. Keep talking. I'll no, because I've got the terms all saved here.
So the 6-0, and again, the thing is, we weren't playing terrible football going forward in the first 20 minutes. It's just every time they went forward.
It's a sacrifice. That's a sacrifice.
But we got sacrificed. I mean, it felt like a sacrifice. I mean, you saw Hazard's face on the pitch. I mean, it was, oh my god, I had tears coming down my face. It was horrible. But look, again, we could approach the game like that, where we try and take it to you and we really play open, and it could work because we played decent football in that open exchange against Man City. It's just when the game play against a team like Man City, with the pace that they have and they're clinical, they can kill you when they go in their transition. Obviously, Liverpool are the same. With Mane and Salah transition, you can't give away too many chances before they score a goal. So
very true.
I think we're going to be quite conservative, which is where, again, I went with my false 9. But again, even with Giroud, we can still be conservative and play on a counter-attack. And obviously go to him for long balls, etc., and play off with him. So yeah, I think it's going to be explosive in patches of the game, but relatively quite tight. And again, when I say we win 2-0, I don't think it's going to be like, oh, we win comfortably 2-0. No, we're going to have to fight.
Absolutely.
Again, nobody can perform below a 7 for Chelsea to win this game. It's impossible. If people underperform, we're going to get found out. Again, I rate Liverpool highly. They've come a long way in a pretty short time. So, especially defensively. So, we're going to have to be on top of our game. It's going to have to be a season best performance from us to get anything from this.
All right, guys, look, man. It all goes down on Sunday.
You need your prediction.
No, all I want is this. I just want both teams to go at it. I want both teams to go at it. I mean, when I do obviously my preview, I'll obviously put out a scoreline. But I mean, you have to deal with facts. Liverpool, there are two key facts you've got to deal with here, and maybe there's a third one. The first one is Liverpool need to win this more than Chelsea do. That's just a fact.
Absolutely.
So of course, Chelsea still want to win, but because for Chelsea, it's more complex because it's like they know that United and Arsenal will keep dropping points, and they also know that they've got a very good chance of winning the Europa League as well, which is a simple thing on the Champions League. So, but Liverpool know that they cannot afford to lose it. Actually, no one. Sorry, I wanted to bring this in, and I think this actually for both of you guys. Let's paint another scenario. Man City either lose or they draw to Crystal Palace. Remember, the game is before. Let's say City either lose or they draw to Crystal Palace. Now, this is what I've said all season, that Liverpool have failed to react. Like when City lost to Newcastle, Bernardo Silva said, yeah, we've lost the league. It's over. Like it's done. And Liverpool failed to react. So for both of you guys, if City either lose or... Because for me, I've already said that that's City's toughest game of this season. I don't think that game is going to be harder than their game against United. Or
don't you think the United game will be harder, or the Spurs one?
I actually disagree. I think it was Crystal Palace.
Everybody has a bogey. What's it called? Even Barcelona, bogey team was Real. Yeah. Sofia that away from home. City's bogey team is Crystal Palace. Like even Even in the documentary, Pep said, "Man, these guys just give us issues because of how they play." And basically, the thing about football is like, yes, the teams are the better and everything, but it's about matchups. It's all about matchups. And there are just some teams where they play in a very particular... Even if you know that you're better than them, Stoke City away for Arsenal. Arsenal were always better than them. Just that the way in which they play is weird. What's it called? Bradford City back in the day against Chelsea. Dean Windass always got a brace against Chelsea. So,
yeah, there's certain grounds that are difficult to play at. You're right.
So let me paint the scenario. City either lose or draw to Palace. Do Liverpool cave into the pressure and not capitalize by failing to win?
I'm going to say we're not going to cave in. I think we're going to win for sure. That's going to give us more reason to want to win because So
you don't think that pressure will play a part of like, my God, we have a chance to really stake a claim? You don't think that the pressure will play a part? You think that they will rise above the pressure?
I think definitely we'll rise above the pressure because obviously we have drawn a lot, but not recently. I think we're on a run at the moment where we won 6 games, 4 in a row in the league. And you have to remember whenever City have dropped points, we fail to capitalize on the following day. So seeing as the 2 games are going to be within a couple of hours of each other, so I don't think it's going to affect us too much because if we know that Man City have dropped points, that's going to give us more incentive to try and win the game. If Man City win the game, if anything, if Man City win the game, that's going to put us under more pressure, meaning we could draw or lose.
Okay, Forward.
I can't lie. What scares me a lot about this Chelsea-Liverpool game is the City Crystal Palace game. Again, I think I agree with you actually that this is going to be City's hardest game in the league for the rest of the season, just because I think it's matchups. Again, United, I think it's a pretty good matchup for Man City, the way they play. Again, Tottenham, especially at home, I feel like they've always been able to beat Tottenham relatively comfortably at home. So again, I feel like with Crystal Palace, they play on that tight pitch,
have a Class A brick as their captain. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Oh, horrible Class A brick! Sure. I mean, he's Alonso level trash man, like proper scholarship. Or HH. After you do this, put them both in the scholarship. It needs to be done.
No. Alonso has a PhD, by the way. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Sorry, Dr. Marcos Alonso. Sorry, just get that correct. But yeah, onto the game. It scares me because I feel like Crystal Palace could do something to Man City. And again, I agree with everything Dahir said, other than the fact that he said that it would affect Liverpool. It wouldn't affect Liverpool. I think it would affect Liverpool, but I think it could affect them positively because for me, Anfield is a very, very special place. A very special place. Again, those guys, once they get something to really chew their teeth into, they really get hyped and they really can build an atmosphere that can even rattle players. And obviously a team like Chelsea, which we've competed in many fierce arenas, and obviously we've been to Anfield and played there under duress. But I feel like with Liverpool, with the league title in grasp, and knowing that Man City dropped points earlier in the day, I feel like they will rise to expectations and they will make an atmosphere which will, again, fire Liverpool up and make it a really tough game. So again, it's hopefully for us, Man City win, and it doesn't really add that kind of element to it, because if Man City drop points, Liverpool win, they'll feel like they're going to win the league. So
absolutely,
my
response to that is that. Remember when, like, I think even weeks ago when, like, we were like sort of like, I think it was even you, Ford, who said like, nah, Hazard is going to come in there and just end Liverpool's hopes and everything, And my thinking about it is that, and this is just my belief again, this is just my view. If City win, then I'm pretty sure that Liverpool will win, because I think Liverpool, without the pressure at Anfield, I'm pretty sure Liverpool win. If City draw or lose, I can 1000% see Hazard doing a dagger. Like I think like Liverpool have the pressure, because I can just see that story of like, my gosh, we have the chance of really getting back in the lead, and Hazard just doing a deadly dagger.
I think, to be fair, if that happens, then I can definitely say we don't deserve to win the title, because we will know that obviously if Man City drop points one more time and we don't capitalize, that's one too many, because we've already dropped 7 points, 8 points. So it's really key that we capitalize.
Look, guys, man. Whatever the case, Sunday is going to be very
Titanic.
Interesting. because judgment. It could be a monumental point. It could be a monumental point of the season.
Yeah, it is a decider for me, for sure.
And again, for Liverpool, for 5 years ago, it's pretty much a chance for redemption and revenge. Because what we did 5 years ago was, again, to your old-time legend in Steven Gerrard, we made him a meme, pretty much. Again, we're going to still sing that song. Obviously, Steven Gerrard slipped. This is a chance for you to really get back at us. And
the
honestly,
thing is,
we're going to hold a lot of points if you beat us.
I don't think Klopp and the players will see it as revenge. I just think we're going to play our game and see how it goes, really.
All right, okay, guys. Look, man, it's done. So yeah, look, man. Whatever the case may be, we'll see what happens. And of course, on Sunday, you both will have to. Whatever happens on Sunday, I will see you guys in the Hangout for the reaction. All right, guys. Peace out. Stay true, man.
All right, guys. Take care.